This is the Rowley Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, April 1st, 2019, 7 p.m. at the Town Hall on Main Street in Rowley. My first order of business is to call the meeting to order. If you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Matthew, would you lead us? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Maybe we'll do one, and then if the other, we'll wait for the other one till the other boy comes. Obviously, we don't want to.
No.
And then the other one, we can hold for another week if you want.
All right.
How does that sound, Joe?
See, because he called me and said he was
Yeah, if he's got
trying to
a-
get here, so.
If he's got another obligation, we certainly don't want to.
Well, he left his sports banquet for his Eagle boards.
Oh, really? I guess we gotta
Yeah.
give him a
He said, I
chance.
can't really do two.
Okay, we have a 7 p.m. appointment with Troop 15 Scoutmaster George Pajenka to present the following Eagle Scouts for proclamation. And we have one Eagle Scout with us tonight. Right now, hopefully the other two will be showing up later. We have Matthew W. Miller, who has earned his Eagle Scout, and if I may read the proclamation, we, the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Rowley, Massachusetts, by the virtue of the authority vested in us by the people of Rowley as elected officials, do hereby proclaim that Matthew W. Miller, having completed the requirements for and having been examined by an Eagle Scout Board of Review, was found worthy of the rank of Eagle Scout. We urge all citizens of the town of Rowley, its community leaders, businesses, and government officials to recognize this achievement and service. In witness whereof, I have hereby set my hand in the seal of the town of Rowley this first day of April 2019.
I'll give you a motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded for me to sign the proclamation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Just lost my thing.
You are in favor of it, too.
Come on up, Matthew, and
We'll
right,
do
come
that.
right around.
We're gonna line up and
We're gonna line up over here, we'll take a picture, give you the, George, you wanna come up and be part of it? We don't have a lot of room here, but we'll make the best of what we have.
congratulations.
Thank you. Smile.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job.
I'll hang out for a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll have if
Lucas-
the other two come in, one or the other two will do it at that time when they come in. Congratulations and good luck to you.
Good job, Matt.
Okay. I'll wait and see if they're up there. I never know where they are.
Okay, we will have public comment from 7:10 to 7:15. We'll go on to general business number 1. We have a request from the North Shore Montessori School to hang poems on the trees on the town common as part of Poetry Month. And we have a comment from the Rowley Highway Department, who is also the tree department. I don't have any objections to this request. Judging from the photographs, there are no materials that could harm or damage the trees on the common. I only ask that if the school does not regularly check on the items, that the town request they be removed immediately. And the request is the month of April is Poetry Month, and the North Shore Montessori School would like to celebrate by placing poetry in a common for all to enjoy. We would like to hang our poetry from trees in the Rowley Common for 3 weeks. We would be responsible for hanging and taking down our laminated poems. We would also regularly check on the poetry to make sure they have not fallen or torn during inclement weather. Below are some examples from my past years with other students from Newburyport. Thank you for your consideration. Patricia Cummings, lead teacher, North Shore Montessori School. And there are some pictures of the poems being hung from the different limbs from different trees.
Sounds like a nice idea, Mr. Chairman. I'll give you a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the request from the North Shore Montessori School. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we have new business. We have a request from Crown Castle to approve a modification of Verizon's equipment at the cell tower at 124 Haverhill Street. The board will need to vote to authorize Vice Chairman Joe Perry to sign the attached letter of authorization. Town planner Kirk Baker has reviewed the modification, has determined that this request is exempt from formal site plan review. Basically, the letter of authorization says that Verizon Wireless is going to make some changes to the antenna, and that Crown Atlantic Company is working with Verizon to manage this process.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to authorize you to sign the.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to sign the authorization to approve a modification of Verizon's equipment at the cell tower at 124 Haverhill Street. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have new business number 2. To the Raleigh Board of Selectmen, Town Hall, 139 Main Street, Raleigh, regarding the Zoning Board of Appeals alternate member board position. Dear Honorable Sirs, the Zoning Board of Appeals respectfully requests the Board of Selectmen appoint Mrs. Carla Chafee to the position of Zoning Board of Appeals alternate board member. The board has previously met with her and feels she would be an asset to the position. The board members support her candidacy. Thank you, Donald Thurston, Chairman. She has quite a resume that is attached.
Well qualified.
Well called.
Summa cum laude from the university she went to, so.
Motion?
Give me that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to appoint Mrs. Carla Chafee to the position of a Zoning Board of Appeals alternate board member. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And we have new business number 3 to discuss the emergency generators at the annex and fire station. As part of the police and fire station projects, a new emergency generator was installed that will service both of the new buildings. Well, the renovated police and the brand-new fire station. The old generator for the police station was moved to the annex property temporarily because it was in the way of construction. The fire chief needs to make plans to move the generator at the Hammond Street Fire Station as soon as possible. What does the board wish to do with the old emergency generator?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, originally, the new generator at the police station obviously is a very large generator to service both buildings. So the one that the police department had up there, probably 10 years or so, is no longer usable for that location. So the thought was originally that if we moved it down to the annex, that we could hook it up and put emergency power to the annex so that when we get storms and heat and stuff, that we could use that as a warming station. And then the more we looked around, I talked to Joe at the time, and apparently the Council on Aging now, not the Council on Aging, the plantation now has a generator at the plantation, so those people no longer will be looking for a warming center. In addition, the new school renovation project has a generator which generates power for the school.
Correct.
And I would think that we could use the school for a warming station or a cooling station, depending on the weather, if we needed to in a storm or evacuation situation. And for us to hook up the old police generator probably cost us, I'm guessing, we haven't got up an actual price, but it's probably going to be $8,000 to $10,000 to hook it up, and it's got to be all specially wired and so shut-offs. Plus, we pay a yearly maintenance fee for it to run it, and if we're not going to really use it, if we can use other facilities, we're better off. So on that one, I would suggest that we dispose of it, either put it up for auction or, town administrator can look into ways of whatever the proper way is that we can
How
sell
old is
it.
that generator?
That's about 10 or 12 years old.
10, 12 years.
At the fire station, at the Hammond Street Fire Station, that generator is older. That was put there back before the police had their generator. And that belongs to the town, even though the building belongs to the fire association. That generator actually belongs to the town. And once again, we don't have any need for it. In fact, the highway department has their own generator, so unless the water department or something is interested in getting a generator, I think that we should have that unhooked when we lose possession of the building. And I would put that up for auction too. They're both got some time on them, and if we have no place to use them, we might as well sell them and generate a little free cash for the town.
I know, being involved with the Pine Grove, that the new generator should be exercised once a month, every month. So that is a concern, with these generators. So I would agree that we probably should we don't need them, and that we should to find some way to
We don't have enough.
Dispose
We have
of
too
them.
many.
yes.
Yeah, we
Yes.
had nothing before, and now all of a sudden we have a surplus, and we might as well, but it's just gonna sit there and rot if we don't do something with them, so I would suggest that
We need a motion to,
Yeah, so if there's a vote to declare this as surplus property, we can work on the disposition. In the meantime, should I be looking at, having the chief move the generator out of Hammond Street to another location? As we go through the,
Yeah, I would
Processes,
think that we should serve to get it.
if you wanna move.
It'll take an electrician to unhook it, obviously, because it's all
Yes.
generated, and I would think they have no objection to leaving it there until we dispose of it. Or in case they may want it, they may have a use for it, they can bid on it too, so. But I'll give you a motion to declare both generators surplus property.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded to declare both generators surplus property.
And
All those in-
available for disposition,
Yes.
and available
yes.
for disposition.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I think we have our second
We have
Eagle.
another eagle. The fun part of being a selectman.
Lucas.
Lucas. Okay. Let me get the right one. And I can do this one again. Better put my glasses on. We, the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Raleigh, Massachusetts, by virtue of the authority vested in us by the people of Raleigh as elected officials, do hereby proclaim that Lucas Castelletto, having completed the requirements for and having been examined by an Eagle Scout Board of Review, was found worthy of the rank of Eagle Scout. We urge all citizens of the town of Raleigh, its community leaders, businesses, and government officials to recognize this achievement and service. In witness whereof, I have hereby set my hand and seal of the town of Raleigh this first day of April 2019. Joseph Perry, Vice Chairman.
Give you a motion signed,
Second.
Mr. Chairman.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 We neglected to ask the first scout, and both of you, actually, one at a time, what was your Eagle Service project that you did as part of your,
So at the St. Mary's Church down the street, I did a brick pathway leading up from the sidewalk to the driveway. So,
Did an awesome
yeah, it
job.
looks very nice.
thank you.
Yep,
Thank you very much.
excellent.
I did a 10-foot by 10-foot paver patio with benches and fire pit at the First Congregational Church in Raleigh.
Excellent.
Very good.
Excellent. Very, very good.
Excellent,
Lucas, how
thank
many
you.
badges do you have?
22 in total.
Wow. Wow.
Why don't you come on up, we'll,
Good job, both of you.
congratulations.
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 Thank you very much.
And
Come on up, we'll.
you're gonna take a picture.
George, come up.
Get in the middle.
Obviously, there's a camera. You just got back from Florida.
Oh.
Yeah, don't rub it in.
I do.
Thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Good
Yeah,
luck.
thank you very much.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Good job.
Thank you.
George,
Thank you.
once again.
Yep.
Thank you, George.
Thank you, Dave.
Nice job as usual.
Is there any word on this, Daniel?
Huh?
Is there any word on this, Daniel?
I don't think he's gonna make it. He said he was that busy.
I guess the other boy's tied up at Triton's not gonna get here tonight. We'll do his another night, George.
I'll get.
Talk to him and see when he
Debbie
can-
and
Yep.
Make another appointment.
When he can make an appointment, because
Good.
we'd like to see him personally if we can.
Okay.
George, thank you for all you do for boys.
Yes, thank you very
Would you
much.
tell us, George, you had 69 Eagle Scouts?
Thank you very much.
Rallies?
Thank you.
69 Eagle Scouts.
Congratulations, both of you.
Congratulations to the parents.
Okay. Going on to new business, Pine Grove School project update. Joe will give an update on this agenda item. Again, I took a walk around. They're having just little issues around the school, but everything is looking good. And I think that the town, I hope we get a lot of people in for a town meeting. I think it's 5 weeks from tonight that you will see a real change in the all-purpose room. It's amazing and it looks great. That's my my observation, but I think that everybody will see that they've done a terrific job. They are on time on all of the projects. They are finishing up on Upper South. No, they're down on Lower South wing, and they will be moving over to the last wing, will be on the library area, and that wing that goes out to the gym. And that will be the project will end on Labor Day in September. And it looks like it's going to be right on target and right on, we will be at budget or under budget. So looking good. Okay. We are moving on to Fire Station and Police Station Addition Project Update. Mr. Peterson.
Yeah, everything's coming along quite well up there. The police have totally moved into the old state. From the combination of you using the new and old, they're totally in both stations now. Dispatch center's been set up, and you go in and look at it. It's quite an array of computers and technical equipment. The fire department is currently moving in to their building over the course of this month, and they're expected to be in by May 1st. Right now, this week, they're hoping to, if the weather warms up, and it's talking maybe some snow, maybe not. If the weather holds, they'll be starting to bring in loam to do the landscape and plant the bushes and shrubs and trees. I think the third week in April, they're scheduled to put down the final coat of paving for both facilities, and hopefully the last week of, it'll all be done, so that the last week of April, the fire department will move in. I've had a lot of questions about open houses. I've talked to both chiefs, and we're hoping that May and June, when hopefully the grass is growing by then and the bushes and shrubs are settled in, so it'll look nice. We're going to have an open house for both buildings, and we don't know what the date will be yet, but we definitely will have an open house so the residents can see what they spent their money on. So basically, it's finish up stuff up there, minor stuff, checklist of items that need to be corrected, last minute dings in walls and stuff that need to be taken care of. But the project's moving right along. It's under budget, and we're quite pleased with it all in all. So
I took a tour with the chief last week through the building. It's having grown up around a police station, my dad was a desk sergeant, and it's a very, very professional building. It's the way it's set up. As you just walk in with a control center, as I call it, and then down to all the offices and the privacy that they have. The sergeants have their own facility, the regular patrolmen and the reserve patrolmen, and I can't get over what and I guess you just say it's not your father's police station.
No.
well, considering that the police station that was there, the original building, the brick building, was built about 25 years ago. That was too small the day we moved in, because the town wouldn't appropriate enough. I was on the building committee at that time, and the town didn't want to they cut us back on the appropriation, so we did the best we could with what we had for money. Obviously, anybody with the fire department is familiar with the Hammond Street Station, which was built in 1880 as a dance hall and, converted to a fire station, so they certainly needed a new facility. So the goal here was to give both departments facilities that they're going to be able to fit in for the next 25, 30, 40 years. So with proper maintenance and stuff like that, we can be proud of those buildings and the fact that our public safety facilities, and the school too, and when you added the school to it, that we've got 3 fine facilities for our students and for our public safety people, and it's been a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of overrides that we fought for both projects, and it's gone well, so we're happy with it, and we hope that the residents understand and accept the fact that when the tax bills come in, they're gonna be up a little bit, but in the long run, it's gonna be well worthwhile what we have there, so.
Our infrastructure was really hurting over the past few
Yes, it
years,
was.
and it needed to be addressed. And the big thing, it's under budget.
Yep. And I remember that one thing that we took, my wife and I took, I think in one of my kids at the time, was 25 years ago when we toured the original police station. And they had a booking area in that if you had an officer in that room booking some felon, that if you open the door and weren't careful about it, you could knock him right through the table that, where he was working. So it was a dangerous area. And so we've made some corrections to that so that the officer won't be putting his life in danger just to do his duty.
But even that portion of where the cells are and the holding cells, it's all been done over. Looks like a brand new facility inside. Really
Yep.
neat.
It really does.
I
Really
have a
does.
question about the space. So I understand there's meeting space there?
Yes.
There are rooms that they will be using for training, and that will be available. Just as a for instance, I also have a ham radio license, and I go down to the Danvers Fire Station, and we use their meeting room once a month to give ham radio license tests, and they are allowing us to use that facility. And it's just a great room, and it allows us to bring people in to do the testing in a good area. So that would be available here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a limited usage, obviously, at the police and fire department. Police department is more limited because of security concerns. The fire department, if we're gonna use that as a meeting space, we've gotta make sure that there's a fireman available in the evening to open the doors, close the doors, et cetera. But considering that we've had no meeting space of any kind, of any size, particularly when Pine Grove was under construction, we've finally coming into the 21st century, so. In some ways that's good, in some ways it's not so good, I'm sure, but, yeah.
Okay. We're moving on to old business number 3, to review the Cannabis Control Commission municipal response forms for Verdant Medical, Inc. and Nature's Remedy. The Cannabis Control Commission has sent the town notices of completed adult use marijuana establishment applications for Verdant Medical, Inc. and Nature's Remedy. The CCC is asking the town to confirm that these applicants are in compliance with municipal bylaws or ordinances by completing municipal response forms. Town Planner Kirk Baker has provided the following updates regarding the applicant's permitting status. Nature's Remedy is conditionally approved, and the planning board is writing up the certificate of vote. The hearing for Verdant Medical application was opened on March 13th and continued to April 10th. In the interim, they are undergoing the technical review. The planning board is doing a visit to the site at 124 Newburyport Turnpike this Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019 at 4 p.m. The selectmen are welcome to send a representative to this site visit. Both applicants still need to obtain building permits and occupancy permits. The attached municipal response forms for Nature's Remedy and Verdant Medical, Inc. have been completed by checking off the box that they are in compliance with municipal laws, with a note that this is contingent upon approval of the local licenses and permits. David Lakeman from the CCC said that this is, however, how other municipalities are completing this form when the local licensing and permitting process is not yet complete. David Lakeman said this municipal response form is needed for them to grant the applicants provisional licenses. The CCC will check back with the town to verify that the local licenses and permits have been granted before issuing their final licenses. Please vote to authorize Vice Chairman Joe Perry to sign these forms.
Think of that motion to sign, Mr. Chairman?
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to sign these forms. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Catch those right after. Okay, moving on to fiscal year 20 budgets. We have the Harbor Master budget. And there was a correction on the pump out boats wages. Do you have any comments? The motion to approve the Harbor Master Department budget
I'll give you that motion,
Oh.
Mr. Chairman.
recommendation.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the budget. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the second budget is the Highway Department budget.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, on that one, the original request was for an additional truck driver, full-time truck driver, and an additional full-time laborer. As we had told all the departments that came in with additional requests, that we would hold those until the end and see what we had for funds. And as a result of the town accountant, the town treasurer, and the town administrator coming up with what we had available for funds, we agreed that the highway department could hire one additional full-time truck driver. And the idea behind that is the highway department 10 years ago had a retirement. Charlie, I regret I don't remember his last name. Charlie used to drive around with, for those of you who've been around, he used to have the cigar in his mouth all the time when he was around town, but he did it with a hard work. He retired 10 years ago this year. And at that time, we were in a budget crunch, and we did not replace him. So the highway department has been down to 3 employees for a 10-year period. So in the course of events, it seemed that with the increase in workload, we've accepted an awful lot of streets in that 10-year period, additional streets to the town. The highway department now takes care of the town common, the town hall, and a bunch of other grass cutting and mowing operations. And they just can't they can no longer get by with 3 people. With vacations and things like that, it just becomes an impossible situation. So with the increased workload, et cetera, we agreed that we'd add, we'd support funding for 1 full-time truck driver, and the next year we'll look at the additional driver if we have the funding. But it all boils down to what funding we have
What
available.
funding we have.
We're trying to be very careful in terms of not overextending ourselves, because as we all know, each year the school department comes in with a big increases. We want to carry over some free cash into next year so that we're covered. We're not going to run into a fiscal problem that way. And the other thing this year was we wanted to make sure that our employees, middle management, the management employees have been historically low in pay compared to surrounding communities, and we wanted to make sure our attempt was this year was to fund increases for those people to bring them up somewhat to a more middle-of-the-road pay status with surrounding communities. So that was and therefore we kept the other increases at a smaller amount.
I don't know how highway has done it over the years with just the people that they had. They really need, compared to other towns.
Yep.
I really don't know how they do it.
Yeah, Scott gave us a chart of what the other towns, surrounding towns have, and just very quickly so people understand what we're doing. I did take a look at what he had here.
Patrick.
Patrick, Rowley has 3.5 employees, Essex has 5, Wenham 7, Manchester 8, Rockport 5, Groveland has 4, Merrimack has 6, Hamilton 6, West Newbury 6, Salisbury 5, Middleton 8, Georgetown 5, Ipswich 7, Newbury 6. So he's still not going to have an overabundance of employees, but at least it goes one step to catching up. And
How many
with
miles
the
is-
amount of workload.
Miles of road we have?
Raleigh, there's population,
50.
he lists as 6285 and the 50.9 miles of road.
50.
So
Wow.
it's a busy job, and as we all know, the potholes this year seem to be popping up faster than ever. So be careful when you're driving and watch for the holes, and the guys are out there working,
Did
but
we approve?
it's tough to catch up.
Or we haven't voted yet?
The board would need to vote on this.
Have a
modified-
motion?
I'll give you that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the highway department budget. All those in favor?
All right?
Aye.
Aye. And a very important budget. We have the working draft for the omnibus budget for fiscal year 2020. This is a balanced budget that the town administrator and her team have worked very hard on to get to all of the figures. Everybody participates and works hard at that budget to get everything in line so that we can, it's very important, we must balance our budget. We cannot work at a deficit. We have to make sure that our revenues match our expenses, and this budget is balanced.
So,
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, we did have some requests that came in that were above and beyond the guidelines. And we've been meeting with department heads, and they have discussed that one such example is the highway, where they did ask for 2. But in terms of that request, restoration of funding for a pre-existing position rose to the top. And the other request that the board agreed to was with the Council on Aging expense budget, a $5,000 increase for the programming in that department.
Programming.
And having worked off that, and then looking at, and every department has valid needs, and it's not very easy to look at this and say, how can we fund it? But if we're looking at the FY20 compensation schedule, and while we're making adjustments, and I've heard from requests from many boards in town that, they're concerned about retaining their department heads and other staff, that addresses that, and also the problem that we're facing with the increase in the state minimum wage. That's had a significant impact. And, right now we do pay below minimum wage. Municipalities are exempt, but realistically, that's not going to be feasible, especially in January when we go another $1 up. It does have, a lot of consequences in trying to recalibrate that comp schedule and adjust for what revenues we have available. We think we've achieved that with that, and that was the goal, and that's, we have new revenue coming in on the meals tax, and that will support that. When we look at everything else, and there are many other things we have to look at in terms of the police and fire station, so we have to cover the cost of maintenance for that and what those expectations are to ensure those buildings, along with the Pine Grove School, which essentially is been a high renovation like that. It's almost like having a brand new school. So those are expenses we have to understand that we have to fund. And, we did have increases, in not just to the Triton Regional School, but the Whittier and the Essex Tech that we have to address, and that's put into this whole package, and, that's all funded. And so at this point, I think that we have a balanced budget. I think we've met the goals that we had with what was available. And Karen and I and Sue and Amy are kind of looking for the support of the board at this point. So, I think that if you could look and approve this as it's presented, it is, other than some, minor corrections here and there, this would be what we consider to be a balanced budget package.
The only comment I would add is that because the police station is a new entity, actually, when for funding for the fiscal year, and the fire station, they have no idea what their budget will be like until they actually live and work there for a whole year. So we're doing our best to make an educated guess and trying to see if we can put together a reasonable amount for funding. But we're not going to know until a year from now how close we came for the funding of the brand-new buildings.
Yeah, and the building insurance because of the new buildings and the renovation of the school, the insurance premiums cover those buildings is up almost $100,000. So the things we do are nice, but everything costs more money. And so there's a few other requests came in. We'll be looking at putting those at the top of the priority for next year's budget. Right now, the economy's doing pretty well. We hope to, we want to be conservative in terms of what we're spending, at the same time make some improvements each year, and this is the decisions that, and Karen's here, and Debbie, and the town treasurer, and Sean in the assessor's office spent a lot of time going through these budget requests and budgets and figuring out the numbers and things like that, and they deserve to be rewarded with acclamations for the amount of work they put in, and it's been a stressful time for them, and I've sat in on a couple of the meetings, and it's been they've done a great job, and hopefully the residents at town meeting will support this budget as it's being presented. So
it's a lot of work at this time of the year.
It's fun giving out money. It's not easy telling departments that you can't have what things that you want, and they're legitimate requests. It isn't a matter of people looking for stuff that isn't needed, but we just have to make decisions that what we can afford, just like your home budget,
Yep.
So.
Just 7 years ago, we took 2.5% away from every department.
Yeah, I mean, it goes from year to year, and really one of the things we look at now is we try to, it's almost a guess, but we try to plan for the next year or two ahead so that we're not overspending this year and then find out that, oops, wait a minute, next year we got to take away because we spent too much this year, and have enough in reserve so that we can cover increased expenses, and things like the school budget just come in every year just way over what we allocate for them, so we have to be prepared for that. And like I say, with new buildings, we've got some expenses we're not sure of, and next year we'll have a better idea exactly what those should be. So.
Yep.
I'll give you a motion for the omnibus budget.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the omnibus budget for fiscal year 2020. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you very much. We have announcements. Earth Day event co-hosted by the Raleigh Open Space Committee and the YMCA on Saturday, April 20th at the Dodge Reservation in Camp Cedar Mill, 390 Weathersfield Street from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Rain date is Sunday, April 21st. The event is a day of fun for the whole family. Events include yoga at 9 a.m., trail clearing from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., the YMCA Health Kids programs and exhibits, and 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., a community hike. For more information, call the Y at 978-356-1102 or the Conservation Office at 978-948-2330. Town meeting will be held 5 weeks from tonight on May 6th at 2019 at 7:30 p.m. The annual town election will be held on Tuesday, May 14th, 2019. The town has the following vacancies.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Didn't we change the time? Town meeting should be at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
You've been late, Joe.
Yes.
7 o'clock for town meeting.
Okay. The town has the following vacancies. The Agricultural Commission Associate, Cultural Council, Deputy Shellfish Constables, 2 positions. For more information on these positions, please contact the Selectmen's office at 948-2372. The Raleigh Food Pantry is in need of donations. Donations can be left at the Raleigh Public Library. The food pantry is open on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and on Thursdays from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Need a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman?
Second.
Motion to adjourn has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.